Hello everyone, welcome to Get My Class. Today we're going to solve this question which is by which method foreign DNA can be inserted into host cells. And the options are, they have given the various methods. That is, first one is microinjection, second one is biolistics, third one is gene gun, and fourth one is disarmed pathogens. So let us see the options. Option A says 1 and 3, option B says 1, 2 and 3, 4, and option C says 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, option D says 2 and 3. Now, the question says by which method foreign DNA can be inserted into host cell, and they have given various methods. Okay, so what do you mean by foreign DNA getting inserted in the host cell? Actually, we are trying to transform the cell. How? We are introducing the foreign DNA. What is foreign DNA? Foreign DNA is nothing but the DNA which consists of our gene of interest. This consists of gene of interest. Okay. This gene of interest will be taken from the host, and then that is from another organism, and it will be introduced into another host. Okay, so gene of interest will be taken from an organism and then it will be introduced in the host cell. Now for the introduction of the gene of interest into the host cell, there are various methodologies. Okay, the first one, let us see the first one, what they have mentioned, microinjection. So what is microinjection? Yes, it is a method of injecting the gene into the host cell. So here microneedles or you can say micropipettes. Micropipettes are used. Okay. Microneedles or micropipettes are used to introduce the foreign DNA into the host. So the first one is correct. That means it is utilized to introduce the foreign DNA into the host. So the second one says biolistic. So what is biolistic? Biolistics. Biolistic method is also known as gene gun method. What is it? Gene gun method. Okay. Here, what do? They bombard the host cells. They bombard the host cell with fine particles. Okay. And these particles are made up of gold or tungsten. And what do they contain? What do they contain? They contain the foreign gene. So these particles, that is gold or tungsten particles, will be coated with the gene of interest, or you can say foreign DNA. Okay, and then it will be bombarded. These particles will be bombarded onto the host cell, and the host cell will, it peers into the host cell, and that's why we carry the gene inside the host cell. So biolistic method, as I told you, it is also called as gene gun method. So, or the second one is also correct because that is also used, and gene gun is nothing but biolistic. So third is also the same. Okay. Now the fourth one says disarmed pathogens. So what do you mean by disarmed pathogens? So we know that pathogens are, especially with respect to, if you talk about viruses, they do cause diseases, right? Like most of the viruses, they cause diseases, and they will carry, how do they transfer their disease, or how do they cause disease? By using their genetic material. Okay, by inserting the genetic material in the host cell, and then they cause the disease. But then here what we are doing, we are disarming it. That means we are removing the gene which is responsible for the disease. Okay, so removal of okay, pathogenic gene, okay, or disease causing gene, removal of disease causing gene, and further we'll introduce our gene of interest into this viral genome, and then we will introduce in the host cell, because this virus can now introduce our gene of interest which is present in its own DNA into the host cells, and it will not cause disease because it has been disarmed. So the fourth one is also correct. So let us see. Option 1 says A, 1 and 3, which is, of course, they both are correct, but not only these two. Option B says 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes, that is absolutely correct according to our explanation. Option C says 1, 2, and 3. They are also correct, but then we have to consider all the correct, options. Option D says 2 and 3, again ruled out. So because we have the correct answer, right? That is option B. So let us conclude the answer. The answer is option B. I hope you understood the explanation. Thank you, everyone.